Hello, welcome to Priscilla's Corner. I'm just so grateful that you're here with me today. We're going to talk about 5 tips in parenting that I'm so glad I learned before it was too late. As a social worker for 26 years, I had to learn a whole lot of things about being a better parent. I wish I could say I did everything right, but of course I did not. And you might feel the same way too, and it's okay. It's okay. It's never too late. I just want to encourage you parents who are in the trenches of raising your children right now, and parents of teenagers. That can be very challenging. It's a very challenging stage for not only the teenager, but also for the parent. But you can do this. You can get through this as well. Nobody gives us a manual. When we get that new bundle of joy that comes into the world, nobody gives us a manual how to be an effective parent. We get a manual on everything: how to set up our phones, how to set up a crock pot, how to do a vacuum cleaner, but nobody gives us a manual on how to be a good parent. So the goal is never perfection. The goal is just to keep growing every day and be intentional with and better than we were yesterday, I should say, too. So number one, I just want to share this with you. Being intentional, take every opportunity as a teachable moment for our children. And that could be even watching a movie together. That could be a song you both are listening to on the radio. It could be something you want to challenge your children to think about a little deeper on a deeper level. We want to be able to help them to identify kindness and empathy and sympathy and all emotional developments that they need to be able to be a whole human being out here. Number two, reevaluating the values that were passed down to us as children. And it doesn't mean that our parents did anything wrong. It just means that we want to tweak what we learned when we were growing up. And maybe the parenting style that my parents had were not what we would want for our children. And that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. One of the things that when I was growing up, that my mom, and I should say, my parents' generation, was that children were to be seen and not heard. And that was something I wanted to challenge. I was like, no, I wanted my girls to not only be seen, but also to be heard. I wanted them to understand that their feelings, their needs were just as important. And so I, as a parent, wanted to make sure my kids understood that as well. Number three, I noticed as a social worker of 26 years that children and teenagers did not have a problem expressing anger or frustration, but they had a real problem expressing sympathy, empathy, and kindness and respect, not only for themselves, but for each other as well. So we definitely want to be able to teach our children how to regulate their own feelings and also how to identify them. And I will have to say that I learned a lot of that when I was raising my children. And there was one book that stood out amongst all others. And there's a lot of good books out there, so I'm not saying that this is the only one. But this was far more beneficial than I will ever have learned on my own. And it's called How to Listen So Kids Will Talk and How to Talk So Kids Will Listen. And I got this one from my public library, but you can also get it on Amazon as well. And this book is by Adele Fiber and Elaine Misha. And you can find this, like I said, on Amazon or in your library as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about this because we're going to talk about our next thing we're going to talk about is teaching kids responsibility and teaching them early. And not only that, teaching them to be appreciative of everything that they get and just to be responsible as well. So one of the things I think is teaching kids early about the task in the community, their tasks in the home, and giving them responsibilities and also admonishing them once they completed them. Hey, you did a really good job. I really appreciate what you did. It really helps the family. So they see it's not just about them. It's about a system that we have in place as a family. And lastly, I'm helping children to understand there's logical and natural consequences for their behavior. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in the book that I just shared with you. So we'll discuss that more. So I just want to say, parents, hang in there. You're doing a great job, because tomorrow will be better to make that your goal. Thank you so much for being present with me today. And I look forward to seeing you next Sunday. And don't forget to share and subscribe, okay? Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.